Stop what you're doing right now. Because what you're about to hear will change how you think about money, success, and what it actually means to be rich. There's a billionaire who had everything. And I mean everything. Marcus Bennett had $17 billion. He owned skyscrapers that touched the clouds. He owned private jets. He owned mansions on 5 different continents. He could buy literally anything money could purchase. But he was the most miserable human being on planet Earth. And then he met a nurse. A woman named Claire who worked in a public hospital making $60,000 a year. Claire had student loan debt. Claire drove a car with 150,000 miles on it. Claire lived in a 1-bedroom apartment with 2 roommates. Claire had nothing. And in just 2 years, this woman with nothing made Marcus Bennett feel richer than he had ever felt in his entire life. But here's the twist that will break your heart. By the time Marcus realized what he had, it was already too late. By the time he understood that Claire was worth more than every penny he'd ever made, she was already dying. This is not a love story. This is a wake-up call. This is a story about a man who had to lose everything to understand what he actually had. This is a story about how you can be worth billions and still be completely, utterly poor. And by the end, you'll be asking yourself one critical question. What am I chasing? And more importantly, what am I losing while I'm chasing it? This story will make you angry. This story will make you cry. This story will make you want to call the people you love and tell them that you're sorry for not appreciating them enough. Let's begin. Marcus Bennett had won at life. Or at least, that's what everyone told him. At 52 years old, Marcus was one of the richest men in the world. Marcus had built 3 technology companies from zero. Marcus had sold those companies for billions. Marcus had more wealth than most countries had GDP. But nobody talked about the fact that Marcus was completely, utterly alone. Marcus had been married twice. His first marriage lasted 4 years. His wife left him because Marcus was never home. Marcus was always at the office. Marcus was always building. Marcus was always chasing the next billion. His second marriage lasted 3 years. His second wife left him and said something that haunted Marcus forever. You don't know how to love anyone except your company. You love your company more than you love me. Marcus had children. A son from his first marriage. A daughter from his second marriage. But Marcus's children didn't call him to talk. They called him to ask for money. His son called and said, "Dad, I need $2 million for a business venture." Marcus gave him the money. The business failed. His son never paid him back. His son never thanked him. His son never asked him how he was doing. His daughter called and said, "Dad, I need $500,000 to buy a house." Marcus bought the house. His daughter moved to California and Marcus didn't hear from her for 6 months. Marcus understood, on a level that cut deeper than any business failure ever could, that his children didn't love him. They loved his money. Nobody in Marcus's life loved him. Everyone loved what he could buy. Marcus had friends, or people he thought were friends. But when Marcus's net worth fluctuated, his friends disappeared. When Marcus stopped throwing expensive parties and taking people on yacht trips, people stopped returning his calls. Marcus realized something devastating. He had spent 50 years building an empire, and he had absolutely nothing to show for it except a bank account with too many zeros and a heart that was completely empty. It happened on a Tuesday afternoon. Marcus was driving his Tesla through downtown when the car's autopilot malfunctioned. The brakes failed. The car accelerated instead of decelerated. The car crashed directly into an oncoming vehicle at 60 miles per hour. Marcus's car flipped. Marcus's car rolled. Marcus's car caught fire. Marcus was trapped. Marcus was bleeding. Marcus thought he was going to die. And in that moment, the moment when Marcus thought his life was ending, Marcus realized something. He didn't want to die. Not because he was afraid of death, but because he was afraid of dying alone. He was afraid that when he died, nobody would actually mourn him. People would mourn his money, but nobody would mourn him. A car pulled over. A woman ran out of that car. The woman's name was Claire Sullivan. Claire didn't know who Marcus was. Claire didn't know that he was a billionaire. Claire just saw a human being in danger, and she acted. Claire opened the burning car's door. Claire reached in and she grabbed Marcus. Claire pulled him out of the car with seconds to spare. The car exploded moments after Claire pulled Marcus away. Claire saved his life. When the ambulance arrived, Claire rode with Marcus to the hospital. Claire held his hand while they drove. Claire told him his name would be okay. Claire looked at him with genuine concern. Not because he was rich, but because he was human. Marcus was admitted to the hospital with severe burns on 40% of his body. Marcus had broken ribs. Marcus had internal bleeding. Marcus was in critical condition. And Claire came to see him every single day. Marcus spent 6 weeks in the hospital. Every day, Claire came. Every break she had, every free moment, Claire was in Marcus's room. Marcus asked her, "Why do you keep coming here? You saved my life. You don't owe me anything." Claire said something that Marcus had never heard before. "I'm not coming because I owe you anything. I'm coming because you matter. You're a human being who's suffering, and I can help. That's enough." Marcus didn't understand. In Marcus's world, everyone expected something in return. If someone did something for you, they wanted something from you. It was always a transaction. But Claire wasn't like that. When Marcus was released from the hospital, he asked Claire, "Can I take you to dinner? I want to thank you." Claire said, "Sure." Over dinner, Marcus learned about Claire's life. Claire was 31 years old. Claire had been a nurse for 7 years. Claire made approximately $60,000 per year. Claire had $150,000 in student loan debt. Claire was living in a one-bedroom apartment with 2 roommates. Claire was barely surviving financially. And Claire was the happiest person Marcus had ever met. Marcus said, "I want to pay off your student loan debt. It would be nothing for me. It would take you years to pay it off yourself." Claire said, "No." Marcus was shocked. Nobody had ever said no to Marcus before. "Why not?" Marcus asked. Claire looked at him directly in the eyes and she said, "Because if you pay off my debt, I'll feel like I owe you something. And I don't want that to be the foundation of our relationship. I want to be with you because I choose to be with you. Not because I'm grateful. Not because I feel indebted. I want to choose you freely." Marcus had never heard anyone speak like this before. Marcus had never met anyone who understood the difference between gratitude and obligation. Marcus asked, "Can I see you again?" Claire said, "Yes." Over the next year, Marcus fell in love with Claire. And in falling in love with Claire, Marcus completely transformed. Claire didn't want to go to expensive restaurants. Claire wanted to cook dinner together at her small apartment. So Marcus learned how to cook. For the first time in his life, Marcus spent hours in a kitchen preparing a meal with someone he loved. Claire didn't want to take private jets. Claire wanted to take road trips in a rental car. So Marcus rented a car. Marcus drove across the country with Claire. Marcus sang off-key songs with Claire. Marcus stopped at diners and got bad coffee. Marcus experienced life outside of first-class cabins and private airports. Claire asked Marcus to volunteer with her at the hospital. So Marcus started volunteering. Marcus worked with patients who had no money, no insurance, no options. Marcus saw people dying because they couldn't afford treatment. Marcus saw the injustice of a system where money determined whether you lived or died. For the first time in his life, Marcus understood what it meant to care about something other than his net worth. Claire made Marcus better. Claire made Marcus human. 1 year after they met, Marcus proposed to Claire. Marcus got down on one knee. Marcus had a 3-carat diamond ring that cost $150,000. Claire said, "No." Marcus was shocked. He thought she would say yes. Claire said, "I'm not saying no to you. I'm saying no to this ring. This ring costs more than my annual salary. This ring represents everything that I don't want in this relationship. I don't want to be with the billionaire Marcus Bennett. I want to be with Marcus the person." So Marcus returned the ring. Marcus bought a simple gold band from a jeweler for $200. Marcus proposed again with the simple band. Claire said, yes. They got married in a small ceremony with 30 people. The wedding cost $15,000. The reception was in a public park. There was a food truck for catering. The music was a Spotify playlist on a speaker. It was the most meaningful day of Marcus's life. For 2 years, Marcus was genuinely happy. But then the outside world started to creep in. Marcus's oldest son found out about the marriage. His son called Marcus and said, "Dad, do you understand what people are saying about you? They're saying you've lost your mind. They're saying you're throwing away billions for some woman." Marcus's ex-wife called him. She said, "You're being foolish. This is a midlife crisis. You're going to regret this." Marcus's business board called him. They said, "You need to focus on the company. You're distracted. Your decisions are becoming irrational." And slowly, the doubt started to creep in. Marcus started to wonder, was Claire really in love with him? Or was she just a very good actress? Was she waiting for the right moment to ask him for money? Was he being naive? The crisis came when Marcus's most valuable company was about to go public. The IPO was going to be worth $3 billion. This was going to be Marcus's legacy. This was going to secure his family's wealth for generations. But there was a problem. Marcus discovered that the company's core technology might have been built on intellectual property that wasn't clearly owned by the company. It was a gray area. A legally ambiguous gray area. Marcus could move forward with the IPO. A good lawyer could probably defend the company's right to use the technology. Marcus could make $3 billion. Or Marcus could pull the IPO. Marcus could lose $3 billion. Marcus could lose his legacy. Marcus asked Claire, "What do you think I should do?" Claire said, "What does your conscience tell you?" Marcus said, "My conscience tells me that the intellectual property might not be ours. My conscience tells me that moving forward with the IPO might be stealing from someone else." Claire said, "Then don't do it." Marcus said, "But that's $3 billion. That's my life's work. That's my legacy." Claire said, "You can always make more money, but you can't buy your integrity back once you sell it. Your conscience is worth more than $3 billion. Marcus pulled the IPO. Marcus walked away from $3 billion. His board was furious. His business partners thought he was insane. His children were devastated. But Marcus felt something he had never felt before. Peace. Marcus felt like he had finally made a decision based on what was right, not what was profitable. And then Claire got sick. Claire developed a fever that wouldn't go away. Claire went to the doctor. The doctor did tests. The doctor found a mass. The mass was cancer. It was a rare form of cancer. It was aggressive. The doctors said Claire had maybe 2 years to live. In that moment, all of Marcus's money became completely, utterly useless. Marcus brought in the best oncologists in the world. Marcus paid for experimental treatments. Marcus spent hundreds of millions of dollars trying to save Claire's life. But money couldn't buy her survival. Money couldn't negotiate with cancer. Money couldn't purchase more time. Claire died 18 months after her diagnosis. Claire died at 35 years old. Claire died while there was still so much life left to live. Marcus was destroyed. Marcus was completely, utterly, devastatingly destroyed. When Claire died, Marcus didn't just lose a wife. Marcus lost the only person on earth who had ever loved him for who he was instead of what he had. Marcus lost the only person who had ever shown him what it meant to be actually, genuinely rich. For the first 6 months after Claire's death, Marcus barely functioned. Marcus withdrew from all business operations. Marcus didn't answer phone calls. Marcus didn't attend meetings. Marcus simply existed in his penthouse apartment, moving from room to room like a ghost. Marcus's assistant tried to bring him business documents. Marcus threw them in the trash. Marcus's lawyers tried to update him on deals. Marcus hung up the phone. Marcus's business board tried to convince him to return. Marcus told them to leave him alone. Marcus was grieving in a way that he didn't know was possible. Marcus had never loved anyone enough to grieve them. Marcus had never had something so valuable that losing it completely destroyed him. Marcus had never understood that there were things in life that were worth more than money, until those things were gone. Marcus spent his grief looking at his wealth in a completely different way. Marcus looked at his bank statement. $17 billion, $435 million, $287,000. $17 billion. More money than one person could possibly spend in a lifetime. More money than most countries had. More money than most humans could even comprehend. And Marcus felt absolutely nothing. Marcus tried to imagine. What could he buy with $17 billion that would bring Claire back? What could he purchase that would replace the loss of her? What could money actually do for him now? The answer was nothing. Money could do absolutely nothing. Marcus thought about Claire's life. Claire had had none of this wealth. Claire had had $150,000 in student loan debt. Claire had had a car that was falling apart. Claire had had a one-bedroom apartment that she shared with 2 roommates. Claire had had nothing that money could buy. But Claire had been rich. Claire had been richer than Marcus had ever been, despite having virtually nothing. What made Claire rich? Love, purpose, meaning, the ability to make other people's lives better, the ability to look someone in the eyes and genuinely care about their well-being, the ability to save a stranger's life and ask for nothing in return. Marcus realized something that cut deeper than any business failure ever could. He had spent 52 years becoming poor. He had spent 52 years accumulating money while losing everything that actually mattered. Marcus made a decision that shocked everyone around him. Marcus decided to give away almost his entire fortune. When Marcus's lawyers heard this, they thought he was joking. When Marcus's business board heard this, they thought he was having a breakdown. When Marcus's children heard this, they were furious. But Marcus was serious. Marcus was completely, absolutely serious. Marcus created the Claire Sullivan Foundation. The foundation was named after the woman who had saved his life and taught him what it meant to actually be wealthy. The foundation's mission was to continue Claire's work. The foundation would provide full scholarships to nursing students from low-income backgrounds. The foundation would build free clinics in poor neighborhoods where people couldn't afford medical care. The foundation would fund research for rare cancers like the one that had killed Claire. Marcus started the foundation with $500 million. Marcus told the foundation's board, "This is just the beginning. We're going to give away much more." Over the next 5 years, Marcus gave away almost $15 billion. Marcus kept approximately $2 billion for himself, enough to live comfortably, to travel, to help individual people who came to him with needs. But Marcus gave away the rest. His oldest son called him and said, "Dad, you're throwing away our inheritance. You're throwing away the future of our children. How could you do this?" Marcus said, "I spent my entire life building wealth for you, and you hated me for it. You didn't love me. You loved the money. So I'm giving the money to people who will use it to actually help other people. I'm giving the money to people who will honor Claire's memory." His son said, "But that's not fair. That's our money." Marcus said, "It was never your money. It was my money. And I earned it. And I have the right to give it away to whatever cause I believe in. And I believe in continuing Claire's work." His son hung up the phone. His son didn't speak to Marcus for 2 years. But Marcus didn't care. Because for the first time in his life, Marcus was actually happy. Marcus is now 57 years old. He is no longer a billionaire. His net worth is approximately $2 billion. Still a substantial amount of money, but he has given away $15 billion. And Marcus is genuinely, completely, utterly happy. This is not the kind of happiness that Marcus experienced before. This is not the happiness of accomplishment or achievement or building something big. This is a deeper happiness. This is the happiness that comes from knowing that you are making a difference. This is the happiness that comes from living in alignment with your values. Marcus wakes up every morning and he volunteers at the hospital where Claire worked. Marcus works as an unpaid volunteer, helping with administrative tasks. Marcus also spends time with patients, sitting with them, listening to them, sharing their stories. Marcus visits patients who are dying. Marcus sits with them in their final days. Marcus tells them about Claire. Marcus tells them that the moments they spent with the people they loved were the real treasure of their lives. Marcus tells them that no amount of money in the world would have been worth more than the time they had with the people who mattered. One elderly woman who was dying told Marcus, "I spent my whole life working. I missed my grandchildren's childhoods because I was at work. I missed my husband's last years because I was chasing money. If I could go back, I would trade every dollar I ever made just to have those moments back." Marcus held her hand and he said, "I understand. I did the same thing. I missed the people I loved while I was building my empire. The only difference is that I eventually figured it out. You figured it out before it was too late. Use whatever time you have left with the people you love. Tell them that you love them. Tell them that they matter. Don't wait like I did." Marcus's relationship with his children is complicated. His oldest son is still angry with him. His son believes that Marcus threw away the family's inheritance on a whim. His son believes that Marcus had a breakdown and made reckless decisions. Marcus has tried to reach out to his son multiple times. Marcus has tried to explain that he did this deliberately, with full understanding of what he was doing. Marcus has tried to explain that money was destroying his relationship with his son, not building it. But his son won't listen. His son is waiting for Marcus to die so he can inherit the remaining $2 billion. And Marcus understands this. Marcus understands that his son has learned to measure love in dollars, and Marcus is responsible for that. His daughter has been more receptive. His daughter came to visit Marcus at the hospital where he volunteers. His daughter saw her father holding the hand of a dying patient, speaking with more love and compassion than she had ever seen him show before. His daughter said, "Dad, I didn't understand before. I thought you had lost your mind. But now I see that you found it. You found the part of yourself that matters." Marcus cried. Marcus said, "I'm sorry that I spent so much time chasing money and so little time with you. I'm sorry that I made you feel like your value was measured in dollars. I'm sorry that it took Claire's death for me to understand what actually matters." His daughter hugged him and she said, "It's not too late. It's never too late to change. And I want you to know that I'm going to make different choices than you did. I'm going to spend time with my children. I'm going to be present. I'm going to measure my life in moments, not in money." Marcus sometimes receives recognition for his philanthropy. Major news outlets have called him one of the most generous billionaires in the world. Universities have wanted to name buildings after him. Charities have wanted to put his face on their materials. Marcus refuses all of it. Marcus says, "Don't thank me. Thank Claire. Claire is the one who understood what true wealth means. I'm just trying to honor her memory." The Claire Sullivan Foundation has now helped over 10,000 nursing students get scholarships. The foundation has built 47 free clinics in poor neighborhoods. The foundation has funded research that has led to 2 breakthrough treatments for rare cancers. And every single day, Marcus works at the hospital where Claire worked. Every single day, Marcus volunteers. Every single day, Marcus sits with patients and tells them about Claire. Every single day, Marcus tries to help other people understand that money doesn't matter. That people matter. That time matters. Marcus was invited to speak at his alma mater. Marcus stood in front of 2,000 students, many of them eager to build their own empires, eager to become wealthy, eager to achieve great things. Marcus told them his story. Marcus told them about being a billionaire. Marcus told them about losing Claire. Marcus told them about giving away $15 billion. And then Marcus said something that made many of the students cry. "I spent 50 years becoming wealthy. I thought that wealth meant having money. I thought that success meant building bigger companies and making larger profits. I thought that the measure of a man was the size of his bank account. I was wrong about all of it. I had $17 billion. And I was the poorest man on earth. I was poor because I didn't have the person I loved. I was poor because I didn't have purpose beyond making money. I was poor because I had sacrificed everything that actually matters in pursuit of something that doesn't matter at all. And then I met Claire. And Claire had nothing. Claire had debt and a broken-down car and a one-bedroom apartment. But Claire was the richest person I have ever met. Claire was rich because she loved. Claire was rich because she had purpose. Claire was rich because she made other people's lives better. In 2 years with Claire, I experienced more happiness, more peace, more joy, more meaning than I had experienced in 50 years of building my empire. So I'm going to give you a piece of advice that I wish someone had given me when I was your age. Don't spend your life chasing money. Don't spend your life building empires. Don't spend your life accumulating things that don't matter. Spend your life with the people you love. Spend your time on work that has meaning. Spend your energy on building a life that you actually want to live, not a life that society tells you that you should want. Money is a tool. Money can help you. Money can provide comfort and security. But money is not the goal. Money is not the purpose. Money is not the measure of a successful life. The measure of a successful life is this. Did you love? Did you show up for the people who mattered? Did you make other people's lives better? Did you spend your time on things that actually meant something? I failed on all of those measures. And it took Claire's death for me to understand that failure. Don't be like me. Don't wait until you lose the person you love to understand what they were worth. Don't wait until it's too late to make different choices. Choose right now. Choose love. Choose people. Choose meaning. Choose a life that actually matters. Because in the end, nobody ever looked back at their life and thought, I wish I had made more money. Nobody ever thought, I wish I had spent more time at the office. Nobody ever thought, I wish I had built a bigger empire. The only thing people regret is not spending enough time with the people they loved. Don't be that person. Choose differently. Choose better. Choose what actually matters. When Marcus finished speaking, the entire auditorium was silent. And then everyone stood up and applauded. But Marcus could see that many of the students were crying. Marcus understands now that his entire life before Claire was a series of missed opportunities. Marcus missed his son's childhood because he was building his first company. Marcus didn't attend his daughter's school plays because he was in meetings. Marcus didn't spend time with his first wife because he was focused on work. Marcus didn't spend time with his second wife because he was building his empire. And then Marcus met Claire. And Claire made him slow down. Claire made him notice things. Claire made him understand that the moments, the small, ordinary, everyday moments, were the actual treasure of life. Cooking dinner together. Taking a road trip. Sitting on a park bench and watching people walk by. Holding someone's hand. Having a conversation with no phones, no distractions. Just two people being present with each other. These were the things that mattered. These were the things that Marcus had been missing. And by the time Marcus understood this, Claire was dying. Marcus spent the last 6 months of Claire's life completely present. Marcus didn't work. Marcus didn't check his phone. Marcus didn't answer emails. Marcus was just there. Marcus held Claire's hand. Marcus talked to her. Marcus listened to her. Marcus loved her with every fiber of his being. And when Claire died, Marcus had no regrets about their time together. Marcus had given Claire everything that mattered. His presence, his love, his attention, his time. But Marcus had decades of regret about everyone else in his life. Marcus had decades of regret about the moments he missed, the people he didn't show up for, the relationships he neglected while building his empire. And Marcus is spending the rest of his life trying to make up for those regrets by helping other people understand what actually matters before it's too late. So here's what I want you to understand from Marcus's story. You can have everything and still be poor. You can have billions of dollars and still be the poorest person in the world if you don't have the people you love. You can have nothing and still be rich. You can have debt and a broken-down car and a one-bedroom apartment and still be the richest person in the world if you have love, if you have purpose, if you have people who matter to you. The difference between poverty and wealth is not about money. The difference is about what and who you have in your life. Right now, you have a choice to make. You're making this choice every single day. You can spend your life like Marcus spent the first 52 years of his. Chasing money, building empires, accumulating possessions, measuring your worth in dollars. Or you can spend your life like Marcus spent his last 5 years. Making other people's lives better, spending time with the people you love, building a life that has meaning. You can't have both. You have to choose. And the choice you make will determine the kind of life you live and the kind of death you die. Marcus chose money for 52 years. By the time he chose love, he only had 5 years with Claire. By the time he understood what actually mattered, it was almost too late. Don't be Marcus. Don't wait. Don't let the people you love become ghosts in your own life while you chase money. Call them. Text them. Tell them that you love them. Tell them that they matter. Tell them that you're sorry for not appreciating them enough. Because they could die tomorrow. And you would spend the rest of your life wishing you had said those things. Subscribe to this channel. Because there are so many stories like this one. Stories about what actually matters. Stories about people who figured it out too late. Stories about people who figured it out in time. And if you're like Marcus was, if you're so focused on building wealth that you're losing the people you love, I want you to know, it's not too late. It's never too late. You can still change. You can still choose differently. You can still choose the people who matter. But you have to choose now. You can't wait. You can't put it off until you have more money, until you've built your empire, until you've achieved your goals. You have to choose now. Because time is the one resource you can never get back. Don't be poor while you're rich. Don't lose the people you love while you're chasing money. Don't wait until it's too late to understand what actually matters. Choose love. Choose time. Choose people. Choose what's actually real. Because in the end, the only thing that will matter is whether you loved and whether you were loved. That's the only thing that matters. I'll see you next time.